Hello, everyone. I'm Elena Erda, Amalgamate's Artistic Director, and welcome to the third in our series of live Commercials for Humanity debuts. Thank you for joining us tonight. For those of you who are new to Amalgamate's work, Amalgamate exists to raise awareness around significant topics and events that affect humanity through authentic storytelling. Our mission is to make the world a better place by transforming the people in it, one story, one event, one collaboration at a time. Our latest initiative is Commercials for Humanity, and that's what has gathered us all here tonight together. We've partnered up with 4 nonprofit organizations to create our first series of Commercials for Humanity, which is a collection of online films about under 2 minutes each that use the power of dance and storytelling to compel viewers to take action. And the inaugural series features organizations that work with some of the most vulnerable populations in our society: refugees, the homeless, incarcerated youth, and those who are suffering from crippling medical debt right now. We are fighting for the causes that we believe in and really rallying people together through the arts to help. Now, last week, we debuted No Strings in partnership with RIP Medical Debt. It was awesome. And tonight, we're going to watch the first live screening of Connection in partnership with New York City Relief. We'll be talking to Corey Hayes about the great work they do and the ways that you can support. And we'll also chat with Alf Bashai about what went into making the music. Excited to have him here tonight as well. Finally, we'll leave plenty of time for a Q&A, so put your questions in the chat. We'd love to hear what's on your mind. Okay, so the fun part, please take a moment now to put your device at full screen. And now the debut of Connection.
What if you lost everything? Where would you start? There are 64,000 people each night in New York City shelters. But each number represents an individual with a story and a unique journey. Life Care provides hope and resources through individualized action plans that lead towards life transformation. Because life transformation happens one person at a time. Together we're providing the essentials to survive a day. And connections to a better tomorrow.
Incredible. What an incredible organization. I now have the honor of introducing Corey Hayes tonight, the creative director at New York City Relief. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Corey.
Yeah, my pleasure, Elena.
It's probably not every day that a dance company approaches you to create art together. So what was your...
This is the first.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what was your first reaction when you heard from us about Commercials for Humanity?
I was really excited. I've been a photographer for like the past 20 years, and one of the challenges for me is homelessness is not usually a pretty subject to photograph, and to try to bring a sense of dignity and humanity to the people that we serve is really, it's a challenge. And so bringing in a dance company to provide a sense of beauty around this subject, that was something I was really excited about.
I love that. It's a perfect partnership for that. So now you have watched the commercial for the first time. What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, I love it. And I don't know if the choreographer, like, there's something that they really nailed in this, which is at the beginning, the dancers are all kind of spread out. They're all on their own. Yet over the course of it, they all kind of like come together. And even when we're out serving on the street, we usually have people in line for, we provide hot meals or hygiene kits, or even, when we're meeting people to connect with one-on-one life plans, and to see people kind of like form into those lines towards the end of it. Yeah, they nailed it. They did a great job.
That's so cool. That's exactly what we were thinking. We were
Yeah.
like, this is the moment you're going to receive something that's given to you. So cool. All right. So let's get to the details of what your organization does exactly. What do you do?
Yeah, the simplest way to put it is that we connect people to the things that they need. What that looks like in the big picture is that we're a mobile outreach to the homeless. We go to the same places every week at the same time so that people know to expect us. We try to set up like a big block party so that it doesn't feel like a really heavy thing. We realize that when people show up, that they're already paying kind of like with their dignity when they come to get a free meal or any kind of free service. And we want to minimize that feeling of like, shame or discomfort in coming to receive something. And we provide people, number one, with the things that they need to survive in the moment, which is a hot meal, hygiene kits so that, they can like shave or shampoo or brush their teeth. These days, during COVID, we're providing PPE like masks and hand sanitizer. But then our ultimate goal is to connect people to the things they need to improve their lives. So we have outreach leaders, which will talk to people, get to know them, hear their story, and find out like, okay, what's the next thing that you need to improve your life? Sometimes it can be something as simple as an ID card if their ID has been stolen. It could be something like getting into drug or alcohol rehab, or all the way to finding pathways to get permanent housing. But it's really meeting people at whatever stage of life they're in and helping them to get to that next step. And then we also have a follow-up care team, which will walk with people as long as they will let us journey with them to go from getting an ID to getting city or state benefits and eventually getting into housing. Everybody's story is different. It can land in a lot of different places, but our goal is to just help people transition off the streets.
Yeah, it's crazy because I'm just hearing you say the things like shampoo and soap, these things that we take for granted, right? Like that just having that alone must mean so much, right? So
bathrooms are a luxury. Like we've found that even during COVID, with most coffee shops and things like that being closed down, where people would normally, if you didn't have a home, you could go into a coffee shop and use the bathroom.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess this is how people's lives are transformed, just by volunteering, right? By learning and getting hands-on, and really, like I saw that on your website and that really hit me. Just like when you volunteer, you're transforming lives, but also in turn, your life is going to be transformed.
Yeah, right? Very much so. I think that we have a very unique volunteer experience. I volunteered at a lot of places, and usually there's a barrier between me and the person that I'm serving, and it feels very much like I'm offering you something out of my riches. But when we serve on the street, one-on-one, we try to level the playing field as much as possible, and you get to hear the story of somebody that lives on the street that you otherwise would never have met, and it does transform your life.
Yeah. And what is like a common misconception about the homeless community?
Yeah, it's I think it's a sense of otherness, because you see somebody, that is especially street homeless. If they are just sitting on the street, they're dirty, they don't smell good, and they're aware of that in most cases. But once you actually get to sit down and talk with somebody and you hear their story about like how they've gotten there or what they've gone through to get them in that place, you find out that everybody's human, and that sometimes life just, deals you the wrong hand, and that's where you end up. Like, we've met so many people that just because of medical problems that they couldn't pay for, they ended up on the street.
Yeah, it's so sad. All the more that we need to help support you guys as much as we can.
Thank you.
And how and when did you get involved with New York City Relief?
I've been with New York City Relief for just a little over 5 years now, and I had been a portrait photographer here in New York. My wife and I left to go to a Christian ministry school for 3 years, and when we felt like God was calling us back to New York. When I came back, I felt that I just didn't want to like build my own brand, but I wanted to take this experience that I had had in ministry school and find some way to like put that in use in New York. And oddly, God opened up a door for me to do both that and utilize my gifts as a photographer and a graphic designer at New York City Relief. So primarily now I feel like I'm a storyteller. Like, I get to go talk with people that you would never meet, hear their story, and then tell that to other people.
That's awesome. So can you just give us a few ways of how our viewers tonight can get involved with New York City Relief?
Yeah. One of the other things that I love about our organization is that we can really serve as a doorway in what can sometimes feel like a very like awkward transaction. That if you live in New York, you've seen homeless people all the time, and you probably never knew what to do. Once you've come out and served with us, we kind of equip you with this sense of like, oh, I don't have to solve somebody's problem. I can just talk to them as a human being, and that is already huge. Exactly. But I tell people you can get involved in 3 ways. You can donate. It's a big mission. We need a lot of money to carry out the stuff that we do. You can come and volunteer with us. We have volunteer opportunities. We have, 8 different outreaches a week. So there's always a way to come and volunteer. And you can also pray for us. Like, the stuff that we're attempting to do, like, sometimes it feels impossible. And so like, we'll take all the prayer we can get. And you can go to our website, which is newyorkcityrelief.org, and sign up to do, you can pray on your own, but you can definitely donate and volunteer at our website.
That's awesome. Corey, thank you so much for educating us all more about the homeless and what New York City Relief is doing right now to help transform these lives. Thank you for joining. Appreciate
my pleasure, Elena. Yeah. Thank you guys for wanting to partner with us in this.
Absolutely. All right, so now back over to Sarah.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sarah Foster, and I was the associate choreographer, producer, and dancer for Commercials for Humanity. Today, we have the great pleasure of speaking with one of the composers for one of the commercials, as well as he is the founder and artistic director of The Ear. Please join me in welcoming Elf Bishai. There he is. Hi, Elf.
Hello. I thought you were pointing to your ear, but you were fixing your.
Oh, that's good. It'd be like
the ear.
The ear. Well, on that point, tell us, what is the ear?
I will tell you about the ear, but I have to say that I'm just so humbled by the work that Corey is doing that it's like, I don't know, it's not gonna like put them side to side isn't fair, because that work is so good that he's doing. Wow, incredible. Anyway, a little humbled. My organization company is all about reviving classical composition, or what I call mainstream composition. So if you go to, I'm a classical composer, and if you go to a classical concert, you're probably hearing music that's 100 years old, 200 years old, or very occasionally you'll hear a new piece of music that is just, however you want to say it, is just not mainstream at all, and really has very little effect on the city. And so what I'm trying to do, or I'm trying to find a bunch of artists, get us together to produce a lot of new mainstream classical music. And the goal is to, 10 years from now, you go to a classical concert and you're hearing, new composers, living composers, and because everybody wants it that way, because the music's so beautiful. So it really is a renaissance in composition. So, and we put on shows that are kind of like American Idol. They're competitions, and we have a lot of fun. We have comedians on the panel, and it's just fun, really fun.
That's amazing. Have you been doing anything during the COVID? I mean, other than, we'll get to commercials for humanity. I'm just curious.
I've been marketing my demo. That's what I've been doing. But no, we haven't. We tried. We have something in the works right now, and so maybe I can announce something in a little bit. But yeah, basically no. We've tried it. We're just,
Except for, you did get involved with Commercials for Humanity. So how did you get in touch, or how did you get involved with us?
Well, Elena knows my brother, and I look remarkably like him. And Elena and I live within, I don't know, like a few buildings of each other. And I think she might have mistaken me for him in the park. So, yeah, so it was just a meeting in the park, and we found out she was a dancer. And because of COVID, so much has been moving to video, and I mean, especially in the art world, there's just no live performances, and we live by live performances and concerts and shows and doing stuff like that. So we're all, as musicians and dancers of like this, are trying to figure out how to produce some video content. And so I said to her, let's do something. Let's make a little video of a minute long, which is very simple. And I think like a few weeks later, she called me up and said, "Hey, I actually have this project. Are you interested?"
Cool. So she calls you up, and I think at that point she tells you we're doing 4 commercials. Mm-hmm. You composed one of the commercials, but can you tell us what piece you did, and then who were the other composers? Yes. So Elena initially asked me just to be the composer, and it's funny how it evolved. I still needed some musicians. It could have been all electronic and laptop, but I wanted some live musicians. And I have these 2 friends, one whom I met on a Zoom thing like this, just inside COVID, who's an accordion player, and she so blew me away that she's so like just crazy and musical and fantastic. And then I have another friend who's a violinist and does things with pedals, and is a composer as well, and very, very creative. And so I asked them if they would like to play on it. And the initial idea was that I was the composer and they would play on my stuff. But then Elena said that there's this track that she heard of mine, which is, if you listen to the pieces, it's the violin that goes boom, ga, boom, ga, boom, ga, and all those like boom, boom, jump, boom, boom, bam, to like this really kind of, it's orchestral. And she said, was that the first one? I think
it's in 3 out of the 4.
Okay.
And to be honest, I'm not sure which is first, but yeah, it's definitely in this one. It's the one we just heard tonight. And so what I was going to do, I was going to take that and I was going to use it as the basis for all of them, and then cut it up and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And what we just ended up doing is I just said, look, why don't you guys each take one of the things, use the thing as the bass track, and then just, create some music on top of it. So the one we just heard, Alicia Enstrom is the composer. She's the violinist. And you can hear underneath, like there's a very soaring violin line all the way through it. And underneath it, everything else underneath it is my original track that she cut up and looped and then and came up with a part on top of it.
I have a question about this piece in particular. When I heard it, I felt this feels sort of has an Eastern tone to it. Is that like anywhere close to musical reality?
Yeah, it's the the technical is the flat six. It's like the it's that. It's not. Yeah. I don't think she was thinking I'm going to do an Eastern thing. It's just a thing that happens. It's so technical, but when you flat six and raise leading tone in classical, it kind of happens. It's very dramatic.
It kind of happens.
And the rhythm underneath it is very like folk dance. Boom, jump, boom, 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 boom. It's all very like that. Absolutely.
So I sort of know the background of this, but at this point in the process, the composers didn't know exactly what they're composing to, correct? In terms of for which organization or which script?
We had a little bit of guidance. We had a blurb on each. I believe that's the technical term, blurb. There's a mini blurb, a blurbette. We decided who, I read them out to the three of us, and Alicia and Erica Mancini is the accordionist. I let them choose one that they felt that they were interested in. So Erica was like, I want the grow one. I want the growing.
And which one did you do?
I did two of them. So Alicia, the violinist, did immediately, as soon as she heard it was the Homeless Relief, she's like, I want to do that one. She had a connection to that. I did the one that I really wanted to do that really moved me was the, unlike all the other ones, which are just cold, is the one, is the Advocate. Forgive me for I forgot the name of the organization, but it's the one that where a youth in trouble an advocate will go and keep them out.
Okay, that's next week. Oops. That's coming next week. So everyone will have to tune in again to hear your favorite piece.
Fantastic. And it's after this summer, I was so moved by the shooting of the black man who was in his car in the Wendy's parking lot. Brooks, I believe his last name is. I forgot his name exactly, but and he was running because he had been in prison for something very small, and he knew that if he got taken in again, that he would be forever in the system. And he was, and that was just such a tragedy. It hit me so hard. So when I read what this, learning about this organization that Corey, I'm totally making it out about your organization right now, but that actually prevents people from falling into the system for their whole lives. So anyway, I really connect with that one.
Well, and I want to sort of continue on with this point
please.
Into our last question is that one of the things we're trying to do here is really connect with people and find those moments of transformation that really bring those aha moments. So, and I think you sort of just described the connection that you felt. And as a composer and artist yourself, how do you give that transformative moment to others, or is there a way to do that? What role does art play in that?
Yes. In my particular, in the piece that we're just talking about, which is preview for next week, there was a story I mean, really, Elena, not only as the choreographer, I believe. I'm not sure, Sarah, did you choreograph some of this as well? Or you're the associate choreographer?
Elena was the choreographer. I just helped.
Okay. So Elena not only is like the primary choreographer, but also the director of the whole. It's really her telling the story. I knew that for my part that I wanted to have a beginning, middle, and end to the piece. That there was something kind of agitated at the beginning. I was trying to get inside the head of somebody who is standing trial and not knowing that they have an advocate. And it's just, I mean, it's, their life is in their hands now at this moment. And then a definitive build to the climax. I mean, it's just every story is like this, and then afterwards, just like a. So, so that's what I was trying to do with this particular story. I don't know. This is rare for me to actually try to take on a. I mean, to be invited to join a story that is very directly addressing, one of the ills in the world. I'm generally not that kind of musician. I'm not that kind of musician. That's me on this project. But I do kind of believe that beauty is, is a spiritual thing, and that everything that we say that's in music that's true and beautiful is doing what it's supposed to be doing. And and coming out of this last, not to get so political, but the last 4 years, which have just been, glorified ugliness after glorified ugliness. And we can just see how it's ripping the fabric of everything apart, just having ugliness, being confronted with ugliness every day. And I mean, it's why I really do believe in beauty and music, and because... And
that's one of the reasons we really are bringing this project to the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us, Alf. I hope people tune in next week to see the piece you're talking about. The music is fabulous, but I'm excited to go back and listen to the other 3 pieces, and I hope everyone does as well, because we can actually now, not only in addition to seeing the dance and the art, we can listen for the arc in the music as well. But let's invite Corey and Elena back for our live Q&A. And if those of you out there watching have not put your questions in the chat yet, please do so. Let's start with a question for Elena. And the question is from Chase Harris. How do you pick the organizations you work with?
That's a great question. For this particular Commercials for Humanity endeavor, we worked with Bindia from who is a board member and had volunteered or worked with or collaborated with each of these organizations in some form, and could really vouch for who they are and the work that they're doing, and really had hands-on experience. And also that was like a direct contact for us to just begin that whole networking that you really have to do to build these partnerships and work together in this way. So we leaned on her heavily, but also we were just thinking about the time that we're in, and I really wanted to pick things that were COVID-centric, that really needed the support financially, and just, we have the ability in the platform to keep spreading the word and building their audience in a new way.
Great. Here we have one for Corey. How many people does New York City Relief serve?
Oh, wow. We can see, wow, we've really seen our numbers spike, especially at the beginning of COVID. typical amount of people that we could see at one of our mobile outreaches would probably be around 350, 370. And then we've got, let's see, 8 outreaches per week. We probably don't see that many at every outreach. Like we're in Paterson, New Jersey. We probably don't see like quite that number. But yeah, man, I wish I were better at math. But
That's still a very staggering number.
yeah.
And actually too, oh, sorry, go ahead.
And during COVID, we've seen like, especially in Chelsea Park, we've seen like maybe triple those numbers on some days. So yeah, it's staggering. There's a lot of need out there.
And to follow up on that, how many locations do you serve? Is it in the entire New York City area? You mentioned New Jersey.
So our goal is to try to put an outreach near every major kind of like transit hub. So we are in Chelsea Park on Wednesdays. We are in, we're serving in front of the Bowery Mission on Thursdays. We're in front of the Salvation Army on 14th Street on Friday. Saturday, we are up in Harlem at 45th Street, I believe. We're also up in the South Bronx, and then we have 3 outreaches in New Jersey. So yeah. And our goal is to like be near every major transit hub so that if anybody needs help, they're just like a quick train ride away from finding somebody, finding a place to get a hot meal and hopefully get connections to like whatever else it is they need.
Great. And now one for Elf. What is your favorite instrument to compose for or with?
For or with?
Ooh, both.
I mean, writing for the human voice, writing, is my favorite. To be honest, I mean, I love writing songs. I'm working on an opera right now, and that's just the most fun. A funny thing about writing is that it actually really matters which instrument you write at, because instruments want to speak, and they just so. I write at the piano a lot, but I've been learning electric guitar, and I now songwrite at the electric guitar, and that just generates a whole different kind of music. And sometimes if I'm writing classical, I have a viola that I can't play, but I'll just like saw away and make sounds, and it'll just suggest stuff to me, and it's really fun.
That's awesome.
That's fun. So we're running out of time, so I'm going to do one more question. We're going to do it like quick fire. So I'm going to ask you all the same question. And the question is, what inspires you to do the important work you do? So let's start with Elena.
The people.
Okay. Elf.
I just have this one question that I ask. Is this what you're supposed to be doing? Because I know I'm supposed to be doing this, and it would be stupid to do something else that I'm not supposed to be doing, no matter what it is. Yeah.
Amazing. Corey.
This is the thing that God's put on my heart that really breaks it. So yeah, I got to say it's God.
That's awesome.
Jeez, I don't know if I can follow that.
Sarah, how about you, Sarah?
Close it well.
I think it's what rips my chest open to reveal the whatever's underneath. Like, yeah, that's what it is. So on that note, now we're going to turn it over to Elena to end our show.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you for those great questions, everybody. So as we near the end of our live stream tonight, I want to quickly share how we can get involved and support by either donating, volunteering, or spreading the word. There are 2 ways you can donate towards New York City Relief. You can give directly to their organization on our Commercials for Humanity page, where they get 80% and Amalgamate gets 20%, or you can give to the Combined Commercials for Humanity Fund. For every dollar spent, it's a 5-way split between the 4 partner causes that we're working with and Amalgamate. So you'd be supporting homelessness, racial injustice, economic hardship, and refugees. I can't think of anything better than what we could do with our money there. And to donate and learn more, you can visit www.commercialsforhumanity.com. They've got on the bar there, you can see below. And there are also ways to support by volunteering. Amalgamate lists a handful of roles that are available on our website, from marketing to video editing to event coordinators. We can also create something specific that you're interested in. You can email info@amalgamatedance.com. And for New York City Relief, Corey kind of touched on some of these already, but just some ideas here. You can volunteer to do outreach, such as serving bread and soup, giving out supplies, such as socks and masks, in different locations in the city, and so much more. So please check these opportunities out. And finally, please help us just spread the word about Amalgamate's work and this piece. You can share it in social media, email it to your friends, tell your coworkers in your Slack channels, however you want to do it, because there's 101 ways. And our mission is to transform lives. You know, it's just like I just said, it's the people. We want to transform people and to make the world a better place. And the only way that we can do that is by getting our work in front of as many people as possible. So you can take action now, tonight. Simply click on the YouTube link that we just posted in the chat. We recommend using the YouTube for the full viewer experience, where the sound quality is excellent. And there you can like it, add your comments, and share away. I hope that you'll join us next week for the debut of our 4th commercial, Stop the Cycle, and learn more about Youth for Christ Juvenile Justice Ministry. Same time and place. And I just want to say thank you again for taking the time out to join us tonight and for taking action now to support New York City Relief. So please go YouTube, share, like, spread the word. And thank you for joining us tonight. Have a great night.